If Nikita is willing to take that L in order to make the thing that he wants to make, you have to respect that. Newsy news! How's everybody doing? Today is Wednesday, September 8th. Thanks so much for coming by the channel. If you end up digging this video and other videos that I put on my channel, I would ask that you please consider subscribing. I'd really like to get 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Battlestate Games released a new update today, a little bit of a maintenance thing that they did to fix mitigating damage, specifically damage that is being done to limbs that would radiate throughout somebody's body. For those of you that don't care about the rant or the background involved in this and you want the TLDR, here you go. Damage has been increased across the board for radiating damage to blackened limbs. And for the rest of you that want the details, here you go. About a week or two ago, Veritas had been having a conversation. Streamer, YouTuber Veritas, super famous guy. Kind of weird looking, but nice dude. Who is one of the very, very few people that has access to the API outside of Battlestate Games, which is how he made his Battle Buddy app, for instance, was looking at the damage that was being done across limbs and other body parts when you had a limb that was blackened out. Because the way that the system in the game works is you shoot a limb, and then that limb, once blackened out, the damage was supposed to radiate across the PMC's body. And that did happen, but what Veritas noticed was it didn't seem like it was radiating out as much as it should be. So he went to Nikita and asked, hey, what is this like? What's going on here? And Nikita said, oh, actually, that's a bug, and it should have been fixed. So we've been playing with this radiating damage system, crying about leg meta as much as we have been, or, well, other people have been. I don't complain about the game. That other people had been complaining about going back like 2 years. All the while, it's been bugged, but not in the way that you think. Now, I posted this on Twitter, so it makes it easy if we just look at the tweet. So this was changes that got posted in the official Discord. They changed the damage distribution mechanics when shooting destroyed, blacked out limbs for PMCs, player scavs, and AI bots. So this is across the board. Bosses, bots of all kinds, scavs, players, everyone. Okay? Now, when a blacked out limb is shot at, the damage will be distributed across all non-destroyed limbs. Before this, the blacked out parts also counted for distribution, which mitigated some of the overall damage. This will eliminate situations when a seriously wounded character would not die after several hits in the blacked out area. In lay terms, what this means is if you had a bullet that did 70 damage, when a limb is blacked out, that 70 damage should have been applied to the rest of the body, all 70 of it. But that damage was radiated out proportionally to the size of the HP pool of each other area of the body that was left. For instance, arms have significantly less HP than like your chest does, so the chest would take a little bit more because it's a larger percentage of the overall HP pool, if you follow what I mean. Okay, good, good. However, the blacked out limb that was being shot, let's say your leg, that leg was being counted as a portion of the percentage of the total HP pool. So instead of the 7 remaining zones of the body taking 70 damage, it was being split across 8 zones of the body. See what I'm saying? So the leg still counted. It wasn't supposed to. What this also means is that the damage that was being radiated across the body wasn't as much as it was supposed to be. So if you put 2 and 2 together, that means that the damage that's being radiated across your body is more now. Leg meta gets worse. The KS-23, which was already capable of one-shotting someone, that was actually being mitigated. If you were shooting somebody in the leg, that was actually being mitigated by like 30%. Doesn't get mitigated anymore. All of the flesh damage stuff basically got a big old damage buff. Yeah. So for people that like playing leg footsie games or shooting people in the arms and get kills from them, it's awesome for you guys. For everyone else, and dare I say the Chads among us and really heavy guns and don't want to die to a guy using Magnum buckshot, you're not going to like this one at all. But that actually leads me into the other half of this video, and I know that this is going to be a little ranty, so if that's all the information that you wanted and you can give a shit less about my opinion on something, then please by all means move on. Regardless of what happens in the next couple of minutes, me having an opinion is never going to get everyone on my side, and I am completely okay with that. As I have said multiple times in the past, I am completely comfortable with dealing with the repercussions of me being myself. So if people don't like me as myself, that's okay. I had a long conversation with chat today about something that had to do with Tarkov and mechanics and vision and loot distribution and all of that happy stuff. And basically what it came down to is this is going to end up being the new thing that people complain about. See, we're on this merry-go-round when it comes to things that people complain about in Tarkov, and we can pretty much make a bingo board out of it at this point and just see who ends up getting what by what point in time. If it's not desync, netcode, AI scavs being crazy, Gluhar hits me through walls, it is something having to do with mechanical changes, loot distribution, chads versus rats, and the list goes on and on and on. And personally, I could give two shits about how people decide that they want to play this game. It does not matter. I have made multiple videos on this and how the complaining about playstyle is completely irrelevant and there's nothing wrong with people playing the game exactly how they want to play it. You guys should be free to play it however you want, as long as it falls within the confines of what the vision of the devs are. And I know that there's a lot of people that will disagree with me on this one little caveat when it comes to the gameplay of the game. Because I look at video games as an art form. The people that develop video games are generating their form of art. We can look through a wide library of games and relish in the artistic vision of the game developer, the people that wrote the OST, the storyboarding, and everything else in between. And I always akin this to somebody painting a picture. Someone has this beautiful blank canvas and they want to fill it with their artistic vision. Partway through, like BSG is right now, and Nikita at the forefront, is working their way across drafting this massive mural. And along come people that are willing to buy this mural from them when they are done. So they give them in advance. And this happens all of the time in the book writing world as a perfect example when people are given advance funds to write their novel so that they can focus on it. However, at this point along the way, there are people that are very, very vocal and very loud talking about that have a following, that have the ability to influence the crowd standing behind Nikita as he paints this picture. Personally, I look at this as one of those things where too much of that influences the artist, and then they start making things that they think other people want to see, like painting seagulls in front of a cloud when the original artist didn't want them there in the first place. That starts to become problematic. Because now, instead of the person being able to exercise their own artistic vision, they are now caving or giving in to the wishes of the people that are throwing money at them. It becomes a commercial enterprise. And we've all seen what happens when money gets involved in things like this. The largest criticism that I think we can have right now of video games is that they're all stale. They all are reminiscent of the next AAA title that comes along, the next Call of Duty, the next Battlefield. And all of the mechanics are exactly the same, and everyone says no one creates anything original anymore. Stop me if you've heard this one. So Battlestate creates a game that starts throwing curveballs into the mix. Things like weapon malfunctions. And then people want to start influencing the painting. So here's where I sit on this. When it comes to things like no loot on labs and keycards not being worth any money anymore. One, the game's gonna wipe eventually anyway, so all of this money that you have laying around doesn't mean a damn thing. Markets also shift in the game all the time based on whatever it is that Nikita ends up changing. Tomorrow, he could make it so that the red keycard shows up in every scav pocket for 2 days. And now the red keycard is completely worthless and you have nothing but people rushing the red keycard room on labs. Now you have nothing but bodies being thrown at a certain focal point. Everyone goes to the same rush room because now everyone has a red keycard and the red keycard is now worthless. In my mind, Nikita is creating a game where out time, we are going to be forced to have to adapt to things as the environment changes. Nikita multiple times has been quoted as saying that he didn't think people having a lot of rubles made sense. And people still have a lot of rubles, so he's trying to make it so that you can't anymore. And he also has said multiple times that he doesn't like the idea of metagaming. People that run the same heavy kits all the time. People that put on the same armor, the same things that are effective. The KS-23, as a matter of example, was arguably a metagun, and now it's been nerfed. No one really runs a KS-23 anymore. Definitely not nearly as common as what it once was, because if you remember back in November, I had multiple videos about it and changed my channel points to kneecaps, for Christ's sake. I mean, the shit was everywhere. The point that I'm trying to make here is that I want Nikita and the dev team to be able to make their vision. If that means that the people that paid money into the development of a game ended up going in too soon and playing something for a while, it ultimately ended up being what they didn't want it to be. My question to you would be then, after how many thousands of hours did you decide that Tarkov wasn't the game that you wanted it to be anymore? Because in my mind, if you got 3,000 hours worth of gameplay, 500 hours, honestly, of gameplay out of a $150 purchase, I think you got your money's worth. What I love about certain members of the player base, if I may, the streamer Willers, my boy, for example, is he has the perfect attitude. Nikita changes something or says that he's going to change something. I look forward to adapting to whatever it is that Nikita changes in the game because he's up for the challenge. Yeah, I'm not saying certain aspects of the game don't need tweaking, but we've already seen stuff with the malfunction system. Perfect example, misfires. Misfires have been buffed, meaning their rate of misfire has been reduced 3 separate times, twice on ammo and once on the gun system since the wipe came out live. So it's not like they aren't adjusting things to try and make it work. But there aren't any games floating around that are this popular that have these types of systems in them. And some people would argue that's because they suck. And that's okay. And maybe you hate it. Maybe you hate it so much that you walk away from the game. But that's okay. It's completely fine. If you want to walk away from the game, just walk away from the game. There's nothing keeping you here. If you have a platform and you decide that you're going to walk away from the game and you don't like the game, then walk away. And if it hurts the sales of the game moving forward for Nikita, then so be it. But if Nikita is willing to take that L in order to make the thing that he wants to make, you have to respect that. You have to. Otherwise, he just makes the game that everybody wanted it to be at some level, or the majority wanted it to be at some level, and then he looks nothing more than just a guy going after a cash grab. And personally, I think that that is a worse position to be in than somebody that made the thing that they wanted to. I want Nikita to paint his picture. I don't want Nikita to paint the picture that the 10,000, 100,000 people standing behind him are yelling at him to paint as he works away with his brushes. And I know that I'm just sharing thoughts and I'm some idiot on the internet, but my hope in saying this is that someone, somewhere, that has a platform that says things like, this game fucking sucks, might potentially be able to put this in perspective when we complain haphazardly about things in the game that we don't like, merely for the fact that we don't like them. That isn't enough, in my opinion. That is not enough. All right, anyway, I'm out. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.